Every great sitcom character has layers, but some take things to a whole new level. From FBI agents and real estate moguls to international men of mystery, these alter egos give our favorite characters a chance to be someone completely different, even if it's just for a little while. Some are smooth, some are chaotic, and some are so legendary they totally deserve their own spin-off. So let's take a look at some of the most unforgettable sitcom character alter egos, the hilarious, over-the-top, and sometimes completely unnecessary personas that made us laugh, cringe, and wonder what in the world we were actually watching. Anton Kreitzer, Cheers. Norm Peterson is many things, beer connoisseur, and all-around nice guy, but a strict boss? Not so much. When Norm's painting business takes off, he hires a few guys to help, only to realize they'd rather slack off than work. Too mild-mannered to lay down the law, our favorite barfly takes Frasier's advice and invents Anton Kreitzer, a terrifying business partner to whip his new employees into shape. And things escalate fast. To keep up the act, Norm even rents an office and hires a secretary. But his scheme hilariously unravels when the guys decide to confront Kreitzer about his treatment of them. Lesson learned. Norm is meant for bar stools, not boardrooms. Lorenzo Von Matterhorn, How I Met Your Mother. Barney Stinson was already the king of outlandish schemes, but Lorenzo Von Matterhorn was his crowning achievement. A wealthy globe-trotting entrepreneur with a name too unbelievable to be fake, Lorenzo exists solely to impress women. The idea is simple. Barney introduces himself as the ultra-wealthy, world-famous Lorenzo Von Matterhorn, and when his date inevitably Googles Lorenzo, she finds a series of meticulously crafted websites confirming his fabricated greatness. It's peak Barney, absurd yet completely hilarious. And honestly, the sheer effort he put into this absurdly elaborate fake persona is a masterclass in committing to the bit. Led Tasso, Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is the human embodiment of sunshine, but even the nicest guy in football has his limits. Enter Led Tasso, Ted's rage-filled alter ego. When Ted realizes his team needs some tough love, he ditches his usual sunny disposition and transforms into Led Tasso, a furious drill sergeant-style coach who barks orders and at least tries to instill fear into his players. While Led Tasso isn't exactly effective, he is downright hysterical, yelling nonsense and leaving players wondering if Ted has completely snapped. Ted's idea of discipline is so over the top that it loops right back into comedy and proves that even at his breaking point, Ted is still the nice guy we all know and love. Regina Phalange, Friends. Phoebe Buffay has always been a mystery wrapped in an enigma, but her iconic alter ego Regina Phalange is her ultimate wild card. Dr. Phalange makes her grand debut when Phoebe tries to help Ross after his wedding mishap by diagnosing Ross with a totally made-up name-swapping brain condition. From there, Regina Phalange takes on a life of her own. Whenever Phoebe needs to get her friends out of a jam, this fictional persona swoops in with her signature confidence and absolute nonsense. After all, Regina Phalange even played a key role in successfully stalling Rachel's flight to Paris in the series finale. If alter egos were an art form, Phoebe and Miss Phalange would be the masters. Stefan Urquelle, Family Matters. What happens when you take the clumsy, nasally Steve Urkel and turn him into a suave, smooth-talking heartthrob? You get Stefan Urquelle, the ultimate glow-up in sitcom history. Thanks to Steve's mad scientist tendencies, he literally transforms himself into his polar opposite, a well-dressed, deep-voiced dreamboat who could charm his way out of anything. Suddenly, the guy who once drove Laura Winslow up the wall became the man of her dreams. While Stefan was everything Steve wasn't, he also proved that Steve's selfless heart was what truly made him lovable. Still, there's no denying that Stefan Urquelle wasn't just a comedic detour, he was sitcom gold. Julius Pepperwood, New Girl. When Nick Miller gets an idea, it's either completely ridiculous or absolute genius. Julius Pepperwood is somehow both. What starts as a bizarre undercover mission to spy on one of Jess's creative writing students quickly spirals into one of Nick's most iconic alter egos. Decked out in aviators and a baseball cap, he storms into class with a thick Chicago accent, growling, "Julius Pepperwood, ex-cop, ex-marine." And just like that, a legend is born. Nick's noir-inspired detective doesn't just make for a crazy night school charade. He ends up fueling Nick's writing career, becoming the star of the Pepperwood Chronicles and proving that even Nick Miller's weirdest ideas can pay off. Mrs. Featherbottom, Arrested Development. When Tobias Funke commits to a bit, he goes all in, and Mrs. Featherbottom is a prime example. After being kicked out of his house, Tobias hatches a plan to stay close to his family. He transforms into an eccentric British housekeeper. Think Mrs. Doubtfire meets Mary Poppins, complete with a wig, outdated wardrobe, and a fake accent. The catch? Everyone immediately recognizes it's Tobias in drag, but they humor the charade because, for once, the house is actually clean. But even as his disguise gets sloppier and his attempts at domestic tasks grow more chaotic, Mrs. Featherbottom is somehow still classic Tobias, earnest, oblivious, and unintentionally hilarious. Hugh Honey and Vic Vinegar. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The gang are all about extreme personalities, but Dennis and Mac take it to a whole new level. Enter Hugh Honey and Vic Vinegar, their short-lived but hilariously unhinged attempt at being real estate moguls. Tasked with selling a foreclosed home for Frank, the duo go all in on a classic good cop, bad cop routine. Except in true It's Always Sunny fashion, it's completely absurd. Dennis, as Honey, is all charm, schmoozing potential buyers, while Mac, as Vinegar, is pure rage, intimidating them into closing the deal. Needless to say, their sales tactics are questionable at best. But as far as alter egos go, Honey and Vinegar are a golden example of Mac and Dennis at their most ridiculous. Michael Scarn, The Office. Michael Scott always saw himself as more than just a regional manager, so leave it to him to create one of the most self-indulgent alter egos in sitcom history. The star of his own spy action saga, Michael Scarn is a no-nonsense secret agent forced out of retirement to save the NHL All-Star Game. With a signature dance, a villain named Goldenface, reluctantly played by Jim, and dialogue that sounds like it was written by a very confident 10-year-old, Scarn is a hilarious parody of every action hero trope imaginable. Despite the fact that Threat Level Midnight is absolutely insane, Michael's passion for the project is undeniable. And honestly, for all its flaws, Scarn's adventure is nothing short of legendary. Anastasia Beaverhausen, Will and Grace. Karen Walker is already a larger-than-life character, but when she needs an alias, she doesn't just make one up, she owns it. Equal parts mystery and ridiculousness, Anastasia Beaverhausen is Karen's go-to persona when she wants to fly under the radar, or just cause some chaos while maintaining an air of mystery. Whether she's using the name to evade the law or simply entertain herself, Anastasia is the perfect persona for someone as fabulously unfiltered as Karen. Sure, it's not exactly subtle, the name alone is outrageous and memorable, but subtlety was never Karen's style, and her unwavering commitment to the ruse is what makes it peak comedy. Dante Thunderstone, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. When it comes to going undercover, Jake Peralta never misses an opportunity to go full method, especially when Doug Judy is involved. And one of Jake's best undercover aliases is Dante Thunderstone, the car-thieving, beanie-wearing outlaw with a backstory so crazy it actually works. According to legend, or rather Jake and Doug's brainstorming session, Dante stole his first car at 9 years old, was born during a lightning strike, and might be the son of Zeus. With his over-the-top swagger, Thunderstone is peak Peralta, silly yet somehow just convincing enough to fool their mark. If Brooklyn Nine-Nine ever did a spin-off about Dante Thunderstone, or any of Jake's other undercover identities, hello Mad Daniel, the most popular male ASMR performer on Twitch, we'd be first in line. Duke Silver, Parks and Recreation. Ron Swanson is a man of many secrets, but none are as surprising or as smooth as Duke Silver. By day, Ron is the gruff director of Pawnee's Parks and Rec department, but by night, he's a velvet-voiced saxophone sensation, performing sultry jazz under the alias Duke Silver at Cozy's Bar in Eagleton. With a devoted fan base of swooning middle-aged women, including April's mom, Duke Silver is the last thing you'd expect from someone as rugged and no-frills as Ron. Duke is so different from Ron that it's laughable just to imagine Ron, the ultimate outdoorsman, effortlessly slipping into his jazz persona. But it turns out that even the most stoic man in Pawnee has a flair for the dramatic. Burt Macklin, Parks and Recreation. Ron Swanson isn't the only Pawnee resident with a secret identity. Burt Macklin, FBI, is Andy Dwyer's favorite alter ego, and honestly, ours too. Originally created to interrogate Leslie Knope's arch-nemesis, Greg Pakaitis, Burt quickly became Andy's go-to persona for any and all crime-fighting needs, real or imaginary. Whether he was running security for Leslie's city council campaign or teaming up with the mysterious femme fatale Janet Snakehole, aka April, Macklin was always ready to serve justice in the most nonsensical way possible. Although Andy wasn't actually an FBI agent, that never stopped him from going full method. And really, in Pawnee, was there ever a better man for the job? Dr. Van Nostrand, Seinfeld. From Art Vandelay to H.E. Pennypacker, Seinfeld is packed with unforgettable alter egos, but none are quite as wacky or as frequently revived as Dr. Van Nostrand. Kramer first introduces himself as Professor Von Nostrand to steal his mother's ex-boyfriend's jacket. But like all things Kramer, it doesn't stop there. The pseudonym later evolves into Dr. Van Nostrand when he tries to sneak into a doctor's office to erase Elaine's unflattering medical records. And the good doctor resurfaces again, this time as a Juilliard-trained dermatologist conducting a workplace cancer screening. But because Kramer never does things halfway, he even uses the name Martin Van Nostrand to audition for a role as himself in Jerry and George's fictional sitcom. In a show built on absurdity, Van Nostrand stands out as one of Kramer's finest, most bizarre identities. Clive Bixby, Modern Family. Clive Bixby isn't just an alter ego, he's a lifestyle. Phil Dunphy is already the king of dad jokes, but when Valentine's Day rolls around, he slips into his Clive Bixby persona, transforming into a confident businessman with a taste for adventure. With his fancy name and comically misguided attempts at seduction, Clive is equal parts charming and disastrous, and things rarely go smoothly for him. Whether it's wardrobe malfunctions or Phil's inability to keep a straight face, Clive and Juliana's, that's Claire's V-Day alter ego, romantic escapades often spiral into pure chaos. But one thing's for sure, when Clive Bixby is around, things are never boring. Do you agree with our picks for the best sitcom character alter egos? Are there any alter egos you'd like to add to this list? Let us know in the comments. Check out TVShowPilot.com for articles on all your favorite shows and characters. And don't forget to subscribe to the TV Show Pilot YouTube channel for more videos like this.